are some of the things that people can do to still be lucrative in the middle of this pandemic? And how did you maintain to still be lucrative in the childcare industry in the middle of this pandemic?
Well, ours was back from when we first started. So we've been here 10 years already.
Okay.
So it was a little easier for us to do it versus somebody who's just starting out right now.
Okay.
So they gave out the PPE, was the paycheck protection, the loan that they gave out to everybody.
Okay.
Well, not everybody. Everybody went to apply for it.
Right.
We didn't get that one.
Okay.
So we had a couple of dollars saved up. What happened was the city, people don't. Well, you can get voucher payments. You can get private payments from when you run daycare. You
right.
because you're in a child care family.
Right.
So the city still paid us for the months that we was out from voucher. So if we had 20 to 30 kids at $1,000 a month, let's just say that, that was $30,000 that we were still getting every month.
Okay.
So we were still able to pay our teachers. They was home. They wasn't doing nothing. We didn't ask them to do nothing. We closed. For me, I kept telling everybody it's vacation.
So was you guys doing virtual?
We wasn't doing anything. They told us to close, and they still was going to pay us. I said, it doesn't make no sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just the kids, give the kids a break. They don't need to, they're going to be in school for the next 18 years. They need to reset. Leave them alone. Everything that's going on in the world, let's not bother it. We had to check in, which we did. We did it like two to three times a week. They checked in. They did FaceTime or the Zoom calls. They did that with the kids, but it was nothing strenuous. So it was real lenient. It was real cool. The staff, we didn't require much from them. Like me, even the people that work for me, I tell them, listen, find your dreams, figure out what you want to do. If I can help you, I will help you. I don't want you working for me forever.
Right.
I understand that I need people to work for me, but there's so many people that's going to grow up, want to teach, want to be. I'll find those people coming down the line. But I don't need a 21-year-old to come work for me for the next 30 years. Right. If you plan on doing that, let me help you open up a daycare. Because clearly you want to be in childcare.
So
I help you open
up a daycare. So the daycare
business
business is still lucrative.
It's always going to be lucrative. I had an old lady that told me, 10, not even 10, maybe 7 years ago, and she said, listen, there's always two things that's going to make money. It's funeral homes and schools. Wow. People are going to be born, people are going to die. And as long as people are born and people die, those are the two businesses that you're always going to make money from. It might not be extreme at sometimes. Like, we probably missed out in private childcare. We might have missed out about $7,000, $8,000 a month for the past couple of months. Which, as an owner, that kind of, hurt a little bit. Right. However, at the same token, we run programs that we hire ourselves into. Okay. So I'm in here. You see me working at my desk. Right. I'm an administrator inside of a program. So my salary at 16 is there for that. Right. So if I take a hit as an owner, I'm okay for a little while. I could take 4 or 5 months and not get ownership money. However, I'm still getting paid from a part of the program that I'm in. And that's where people don't understand ownership versus working for somebody and still working inside of something because I'm partnering with the Department of Education. And in that partnership, I'm pretty much hired by them, which I can be fired by them, but I still have my ownership to my company. So I'm getting mine two separate ways, both sides of the spectrum. But at one point, it was just, I'm running around like, yo, I own a business, I'm good, ain't nothing can happen. No. I got to be smarter than this. I have to plan. I need every penny. Right. And that's pretty much where I kind of get, my hunger from on a regular, because it's not just, okay, I figured this out, let me chill. You have to keep recreating You have to keep reinventing it. Right. It's just like any other business. Like, people get scared to change their logos. They get scared to do this. They get scared. And I'm like, dude, all you got to do is reinvent it. Right. Cameraman, he been doing this 20 plus years. It's a fact. It don't stop. He's filming with an iPhone or whatever kind of phone he got right now. He's filming. He wasn't doing that 5 years ago. Right. It was a big bulky. And he was only probably doing the big bulky because we seen other people doing the big bulky and we like, yo, we need that. Because that's how it happened with DJing. Right. I came from school DJing on a laptop. I came home, graduated. They're like, yo, you're not no real DJ. You ain't got no turntables. I went and bought the Pioneer joints, turned around. And now they going to do what you do. 2 weeks later, I'm at Roseland DJing on the side of Tower Boogie and DJ Self, and they both on Serato doing what with computers. But yet, I was in a DJ 3 months ago because I had a laptop. Right. So it's all about reinventing yourself, and that's what they did. They reinvented themselves. DJs all switched over. It's all elevation. Right. But some people fear that because they feel like if I do this, either, you know, I'm not sticking to the script of what I was taught, which was wrong.
Right.
Or if I do it, I might fail at that. But like we just said, it's about teaching a skill. So however you want to stay lucrative, I would say learn a skill. Learn something new that helps. You had time. Everybody was off. It ain't like, certain people was off. 90% of New York City was off.
So you would say this was the time for people to increase their skill set.
This was the time. If you ever wanted to do anything, this was the time. They was talking about, they was giving out loans, they was giving out extra unemployment.
Right.
And it goes to needs versus want. I think that's a huge problem that people don't get. Like, it's about, you've had Mercedes, Lexus, and tons of other cars. I've had the same exact thing.
Right.
At times, I seen you out of a Mercedes, out of a Lexus.
Right.
At times, you see me in a Chrysler. You see, it's needs versus want.
Right.
Do I need a vehicle to get around and make my moves or whatever?
Right.
Cool. Do I need a Mercedes with a $600 car note? Absolutely not.
Right.
So that's not failure though. That's knowing what I need.
So it goes back to working harder or working smarter.
Working smarter.
But what I tend to tell people is you should do both.
Right.
Work harder and work smarter.
Right.
If you work harder and you work smarter, you won't lose.
Absolutely.
So when those times when you did see me in regular cars, that was me being practical, figuring it out, saying to myself, "Yo, I don't need this CLS. I don't need this G-Wagon. I don't need this." And then I said, okay, I saved for 3 or 4 years. I can afford to get back into it. Right. And it's like what I tell people is, don't do something that you can't really do. Right. So if you see me in a fancy car now,
it's because I can do it. Right. And even then, like you said, it's still work harder, smarter. Right now, I got an ES300 hybrid. I got one. My fiance got one, matching cars. Right. I got a Bentley GT. Right. I got two party bus vehicles or transportation vehicles, whatever you want to call it. I have a home on the island, in Long Island, right? And even still, sometimes I'm not crying. I can afford those things right now. But even still, sometimes I'm like, I don't need all of this. Like,
you can't drive all of them at the same time.
I can't, and I don't. However, the smarter part of me is I figured out what they're doing. I figured out what the other colors, how they get in the way doing it, and it's like, okay. So when I first moved out there, my insurance here for 5 or 6 cars was about $1,300 a month. I was paying. Each car was maybe 300 to 2 and change.
And I think you lowballing it over.
Right. I shot up there my first year. Everything dropped to about 80 on average. Wow. I'm paying $400 for the 4 cars. So if you see me in the Bentley, it's because I figured it out. Right. So even if I got a note for my car for $700, my insurance is $125 full coverage on the Bentley.
So instead of
that's what they're doing out there.
Before we was paying $600 on the insurance and $600 on the note.
We paying almost $1,200 for each car.
You cut that in half.
We cutting that in half. We slicing that. So I'm able to maneuver in a better way. Like you said, it's not about I can afford it. But I'm still when she had actually got me the Bentley. When she did it, I was on vacation in North Carolina. She called me like, listen, I don't want to make this move unless you know what the numbers are on this move. Right. And I'm like, so run me the numbers. She's like, well, I got it at this, and that. The note might be about 6 and change.
It made sense.
I ran the insurance, and the insurance ran back at $1 and change.
So we're going to need him to come back on the show with me when I do my car segment.
Oh, yeah. And we've been doing this for a while.
And we break down
doing this for a while.
How to differentiate assets and liabilities and how you can turn your car into an asset. Right. So he's breaking it down for you like, this is a sharp dude right here. I hope all this stuff ain't flying over your head and we're not talking too fast, but the stuff that he's saying right now is it doesn't happen overnight. But if we could give you the information for you to not go through the trials and tribulations that we did, that's what we're here. Yeah. That's what this platform is right now. That's what I'm trying to provide, and that's why I came to him, and that's why I come to these different business owners, because I want y'all to skip the bullshit. Right. Don't buy the nice car if you can't afford it. Right. You buy the nice car when you can afford it. And that's what he's breaking.
And when it makes sense, even when I was 23, right out of college,
at the CLK.
At the CLK, the green joint, I was paying for that car straight off of DJ money. Right. Like, I still had a job at that time. Right. I was working in the physical therapy office, and on the weekends I'm coming home $600 to $800 every week in cash, no taxes and all that. going right to my pops, like, yo, here's my note.
He was one
Like,
of the first
we
people
good.
that I ever knew to live off the land. He told me, I'm not going to get a job. I can make $800 DJing.
Yeah, I'm not
I said, yo, see, and I think like him, but a little bit, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, yo, I need to go get a city job, or I need to go do this, or I need to go do that. But when he said that, it sparked something in me. It just said, he figured it out. Like, he could make $800 in 4 hours. Make 800 in 4 hours. People do that in 40 hours.
Right.
This kid figured it out.
Right.
Like,
It's all about finding your niche. Even when we was doing the video thing.
right.
Like, I knew the video market was at 400 at the time, maybe
Okay.
350. And I'm like, listen, Fash, I'm not doing it for 400.
Right.
This is more strenuous than DJing.
Right.
We getting 8 on DJing, I'm going for a stack.
Right.
If they don't want to pay for it, cool. I don't mind somebody else making the money. I've never been the type of person to cut
Right.
anybody's throat. I'd rather somebody else make the money and you know the worth of that business,
Right.
rather than me shortchange it out and be like, yo, I'll take 200 or I'll take 150. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I don't need to do it, so I don't. It's been done to me.
Right.
But I'm the type that like to kind of stretch the market a little bit. Like let's get it to where everybody else can eat too. Let's figure it out. Like, cause if we all did it at 1,000, where they gonna go?
Right.
They can't go nowhere else. If we all did it at a stack, they don't have a choice but to bad footage or good footage. If we started at this 1,000,
So you was changing the economics of it.
yeah, for everything I do, I'm always gonna do that. Like, I'm always gonna figure out a way because I want to see the next person eat.
Right.
Like I tell people all the time, I could sit here in this daycare for the next 15, 20 years and not do another thing in my life and just eat with this.
Right.
I don't have to help nobody do no music, no videos, no logos, no clothing company, I don't have to do a damn thing.
You figured it out.
I could just sit here and make this my primary meal
Right.
and just eat right here
Right.
for the next 20 years.
Right.
But me stretching the market and increasing economics is because I want to see everybody eat. Everybody got to figure it out. That's the way because if they do, it only helps my kids.
Right.
You know, if I can help everybody else figure it out when my kids are coming up, the market is the right way for them.
Right.
But if I try to keep it low and keep it funky,
Right.
they coming into the same thing. Like
Right.
that doesn't work.
Right.
So it's all about the next person, next man up. I have that mentality of anybody. This ain't the first time. There's plenty of interviews that I've done.
Okay.
Where I've given everything. Like anybody that knows me can come to me and say, yo, anything I've ever asked this dude, he told me the answer to. If he knew it.
Right.
And if I didn't know it, I went and found it. But I'm that person because I could care less. Like Jay said, what you eat don't make me shit.
Right.
Like there's everything we look at is $1 billion market. Everything. Electronics, wood, furniture, rugs, clothes, everything is $1 billion and better.
Pick what you want.
Pick what you want. So am I going to stop you from learning this industry because, we live across the street from each other? Absolutely not. Absolutely
enough
not.
For all of us to eat.
Sister, momager, and moms had daycares forever.
Yep.
3 of my nephews went to y'all school.
Right.
There was never bring them to my joint, get them up out of here. I need that. I can use them for UPK because we need those numbers.
Right.
No. Leave them over there.
Right.
They with the Dukes. They good.
And I appreciate
I'm over here. We gonna figure this out on the other side of town. Let's get this chicken. But that's what the game is supposed to be. I know too many people that they fuck that game up.
So what he's saying right now is, as we speaking right now, a lot of people in our neighborhood would never think that we would be sitting down talking about business.
Absolutely not.
So we're breaking the crabs in a barrel cycle in half right now.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's over. It's time for us to now help the younger generation, let them become financially literate, and just do something different, man. Like, we can't keep doing the same shit over and over. Not to curse, but
absolutely not.
You know,
I mean, even with sports, and I'm gonna bring Sadie into it because she's coaching. Congratulations,
right?
Over at Scaling, right?
Right.
Alma mater. If I see a girl that says she's that nice, I know her parents, I know her moms, and they come to me and say, "Yo, she was thinking about going to Scaling. I know y'all got a program over at y'all school where you coach at, and I want her around you, but she wants to go to Scaling." I know Sadie's over at Scaling. She's in good hands.
Right.
Send her to Scaling.
And
that's the way it got. Like
that's how
it's
it has
all.
to be.
Yeah, and it's all about the kid. A lot of people forget it's all about the kid. It's all about other people. Like everything that I do, people will never understand. I don't do nothing for me.
So again, generational wealth is not just finances. It's helping our community with life.
Right.
This is not just about money. This is about life. Building your brand, being yourself, building that up in life. And generational wealth is all about that. And he's breaking it down right now. Like, and yo, I can't even begin to explain to you how much I appreciate this moment. That
I mean, we've had these type of conversations in the barbershop.
Right.
It wasn't here because I didn't own nothing back then.
Right.
You was figuring it out. Mom's had it done.
Right.
Sis had hers going already.
Right.
But we were still like the brother. We was the Rob Kardashians in the family. We sitting there like, listen, we got it going on. But it's sometimes it's a little tough as men because of the ego.
Right.
You sitting there like, I'm not going into no chat. Honestly, I was at the top of the promotion game. When I thought about the Baby Lounge, she was at Citibank. Right. One of my partners at Citibank. Her sister was at Empire Merchant. She's still there at one of the bigger liquor distributors in the city. She works for them. And I was doing a party promotion, and I had got laid off from working from housing, 2008, the first economic joint that went down. I got laid off. Went back to work about a year and a half later at Phipps. I was in Bronx River. Then I was back in Phipps, and Sounds we moved. Right. And I was there. And she laid me off because she just felt like I didn't need the job because I wouldn't do whatever she told me to do. Right. We just bumping heads. Had that mentality. So she felt like he don't need this job. So whatever the case was, and then at that time we were still putting 08. We was putting 2,000 to 3,000 every party in the venue. Wow. So my partner at the time, well, it was his company. I was right up under him. I'm like, yo, listen, first of all, let's open up our own club. Right. That's never going to work in the Bronx. Nah, let's not do that. It's not. Okay, cool. You don't want this. You said this was your dream. Right. I know my dream still is to open up a club. I'm having a problem with that because the liquor thing. Like, I don't want to really do that. I got an idea, but I don't really want to get into the liquor thing. And that's your old tug of war. That's my tug of war because I don't want to do nothing to harm our people. Right. So that's on me. And then I told him, the first person I went to with the idea, I was like, listen, I want to open up a club. My sponsor actually was like, listen, find a building. I'll put up the bread. I'll own it, and you rent for me. Okay. I'm like, say less. Dude's a millionaire. He got it. He's just looking at it as an investment property. Like, we can make this happen. He was like, nah, I don't want to do it. So I go to him and I'm like, listen, I got another idea. Like, I went to my fiance, my girl at the time, my fiance now, and I'm like, listen, what's your dream? She's like, well, I want to open up a daycare center. I'm like, cool. I want to open up a club, but the tug of war was still going on back there. Plus, I got him telling me it can't happen, this is somebody I'm with 24/7. So that kind of kills your whole mental. Like, do he not believe in me, or do he just don't think it can really happen? Right. At that time, I'm believing like he really don't think it can happen. Cool. So I'm like, one day it just hits me. I'm in the crib. I'm designing something. I'm like, yo, what if we mix the idea? Like, what if we mix the idea of a lounge and the daycare center and we call it Baby Lounge? Right. Like, we'll set everything. You see me on bar stools. Right. We'll set up everything like a lounge, hardwood floors, TVs, everything real nice, sexy. Nothing that resembles a school, but we'll give it top-notch education inside of it because I'm a firm believer in that with kids. Like, we'll put that in there, and that ambiance in this area will draw all this attention, and we'll keep it at the same price. Right. Like, we won't go up when we open those doors. Right. We'll keep it at a affordable level price right there. Right, we'll keep that price point. And she was like, yo, that's crazy. When I went to him, he's like, get the fuck out of here. You talking about a daycare now? You're bugging. Like, you tripping. I go to her. He couldn't see it. She's like, yo, let's do it. And at the time, there was a lounge on the corner over here it was closed down. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about doing that, renovating and flipping that over. Right. She goes and runs to tell her sister the idea. Her sister's like, yo, they just opened up some rental properties around the corner. Because this wasn't the first one. It was the other one we was at. Right. But we still got it. But so she's like, yo, they only want $1,750 a month for rent. This was 10 years ago. I'm like, let's get two. They get scared. They're like, nah. That's too much. That's too much. I'm like, anywhere else you go right now, rent is gonna be $3,000-$4,000 in the city. Let's grab two. They're like, no. We grabbed that one, and here goes the thing, the smarter part of me. They had kids already inside of the house daycare that they had. Right. So
So
it was double
we gonna talk about that
coming outside. So I'm like, yo, we just gonna take these kids, grab them, dump them over here. Not to say it like that, but we gonna put them over here. We gonna get double the money. You can still take care of the house bills with that bread because that's what it was doing. Right. And then we can start from there. 6 months later, we was looking for another spot. We opened this one almost a year later.
Okay, so that leads me to this question. Is there a difference between group family daycare and regular daycare? And which, if we were talking to somebody about starting in the daycare business, which one would you advise them to go into?
I would go into the group family off top. If you have no clue on what you're doing,
right?
If you have no clue about business, I would go that route only because it's not gonna kill you stress wise. Like, it's a little easier to get your license. It's a little easier in the process.
So can you explain the two so they can get a better understanding on the difference between a group family and an actual daycare?
So the group family is in home. Whether you're in a building, you're in a private house, it's a group family. They limit you to, I believe, it's 16 kids.
Right.
In a group family. You can't have, no matter how big your house is, you can have a house on 3 acres of land, and you can have 26,000 square feet per room. You only can have 16 kids. So that's the major difference of a group family. On top of a group family, you don't have to be certified. You don't have to have a certified teacher in the house. It could be grandma in the joint.
Once she get fingerprinted.
Watching the kids after she's fingerprinted and cleared, grandma could be in there.
Good to go.
So those are two of the differences. Now when you get a daycare center, it goes by square footage.
Okay.
So each age group takes up a certain amount of square feet. They measure it. They measure it out. They tell you how many you can have. Both places have to have the same type of egresses, so you have to have a way in and a way out to the street, 2 separate entrances.
So egress is basically
an exit, right? You have to have a way in and a way out. God forbid there's an emergency, you can get out either way. The major part about a center, it's commercial. It's your real estate. It's rental. Now, where you're doing it at home, and your overhead might have been the $800 or $1,500 that you pay in rent for your apartment because you still live there.
Right.
Now you have a separate rental. Now I'm at $3,300 at one spot. I'm at $2,600 at another spot. So now, okay, cool. In a group family daycare where I have to pay my rent regardless, if I don't get kids for 3 months, okay, I still have to pay my rent. So I'm paying my rent however I'm getting that done. When I go into the center, there is no 3 months. Like, I got to pay this rent this month, so I need the kids. It's more pressure, it's more stress. It's more strenuous, but the rewards are greater. Just like I said, so for a kid that may be in a home, it might be $195 a week or $200 a week. For that same kid, I might be getting 406 in the center. Right. Same kid.
So with the group family, can you get government funded as well,
Absolutely.
or it's only with the center, the daycare center?
You can get them both. You can get vouchers in the group family.
Okay.
You can also. I have my homegirl. She wasn't doing UPK. She now has UPK 3 and 4 in the apartment building.
In the group family.
In the group family, on the 3rd floor is her UPK 4. On the 4th floor in the same building, she got UPK 3.
So she has two
joints, and just bought another building.
Was she grandfathered in? Because I know now you can only.
You can only have group family daycares. You can only have one,
right,
as an owner,
right. So she must have did it beforehand.
No, because she doesn't have the group family daycare upstairs. Well, she was in already, but she opened up a UPK, which is totally different. So she has the UPK joint upstairs, and
that's a whole different industry,
whole different ball game. So now, but you said government, so that's city, but. She has a city grant there and a city grant over here. But they changed it about I want to say 2 years ago, where you couldn't own more than one group family daycare because the people who had the centers was like, wait a minute.
Right.
I could go grab up 6 people in my family and open up daycares in their apartments, and we off to the races. So they was kind of like, nah, you can still do it, but they all can't be in your name.
You was able to have it under one umbrella.
Right, under one umbrella, under my name. I'm opening up a joint here, down the block, around the corner, we good.
They got hip to us.
Got hip to the game. They said, listen.
So I deal with the similar thing. I'm in the car service industry. I deal with taxis. Okay. I got a taxi. Mm-hmm. Before I got into the taxi business, you was able to have as many taxis as you wanted. Now you're only able to have one taxi each person. And we also get vouchers. You can do hospital vouchers and cash paying, just like the daycare business. But what I realized, what was similar to me is, yo, they trying to take the freedom away from us.
Right.
So you got to jump on these things quick. You got to, once you see the
opportunity
business,
knocks, open the door.
Right. You got to be on it.
What's funny about that is, when we opened up the first place, we were doing okay. And the teachers that we had there, they had came from UPK programs.
Okay.
So when we opened, they was like, don't do UPK. They're going to change everything. They're not going to let you run the way you want to run, X, Y, Z. So we're like, we just opened up. We got our look. We doing things however we want to do it. Like, cool. We're not going to do it. Fast forward to 2014 when De Blasio came in and he's like, yo, I want to open up UPK for everybody.
Right.
Applied for it. We looking like, so we opened 2009, 2014. That's 5 years to be exact. And those 5 years, I didn't see a nickel from the business, from here. Not a penny. I got 2 daycares open. I'm paying nine staff, which I'm taking care of 9 families outside of daycare. I'm not seeing a penny.
Right.
I'm not seeing a penny. My fiance's not seeing a penny. And her sister, which is the other partner, she's not seeing a penny.
Right.
We're not seeing a nickel from these businesses.
Right.
So UPK comes out. First thing we do is we figure out what's going on. What is that? Because we didn't know what it was. So we look into it.
And how can it be lucrative?
How can it be lucrative? So the first thing we see is you can hire an administrator, a bookkeeper. You need 2 teachers per classroom.
Light bulb
Stop
goes
right
off.
there. Light bulb. They gonna pay us to have an administrator?
That's me.
That's me. My degree is in business administration. That's me up there. I'm Gucci.
Perfect.
So originally I came in as the bookkeeper.
Right.
My fiance said, you know what? I always wanted to be a teacher. That's what she went to college for, but she I'm going back to be a teacher. I'm gonna get my master's.
Right.
Say no more. So
now
you in
house.
Right. You in. So we asked her sister, like, she's like, nah, I want to stay at my job. I'm not leaving.
Okay.
Cool.
She could have been the assistant.
If you could figure out something through these lanes. But she wanted to stay where she wanted to stay. So she stayed there. To this day, she's still working where she works at. Right. And we took the jobs inside of UPK program, which was the smartest thing we could ever do.
Right.
It was like I went from literally 14, I made nothing from the business up until 2014. That first year, I might have brought in like 30 and change. Right. I switched it the next year because I came in as a bookkeeper. I switched it from the bookkeeper. I switched it from that to, I want to say it was the administrator 2 years later. And I went to like 40. And we still had the bookkeeper. We still had that on the line. Right. And then I think the next year we said, let me just merge those 2 together. And I'm walking away with 60. Right. 5 years later from there, 2019, between everything that I got, I go from 0 to 100. I mean, I pulled in 100,000. Right. On the books. 6 figures. Like, I pulled in 6 figures in 5 years from sitting still and just figuring out how to play this game smarter because anybody that knows me know I was running around. Like, at one point, I was running around with, I thought Paulie was the brains of the operation. And he's like, yo, bro, this is how we moving. We flying here. We doing this. We doing that. I'm running around like, you know what? I got my own business. You about to start yours. You got a little business going on. So we just like, jump in the air. We think we on Ballers, the TV show. Fly out. Let's buy cars.
Yo, these dudes were standing on top of cars.
Yeah, we like to be in the air. We over here.
My God.
Everything's a go.
Right.
And I just sit back like, yeah, my bills are taken care of, but I'm not, something's not right. So I sat still. Right. Like, that was it for me. Like, I sat still for 5. Right, regrouped. I'm up 100. I'm still pushing. Like, but it's all about figuring that out, man. Right. And I say that because at that point, I was letting everybody else run the business. Right. I was letting the teachers, I was letting the administrator that I was paying at that time, I was letting them do the job. I was letting them run the business.
And this is what you have a degree in.
And this is what I do. Like, to this day right now, nobody around here in this daycare, the other one in the house, whatever, they don't make a move unless they come through me. Right. And I didn't even make it that way. It's just from what I did in those 5 years where they was like, oh, he really know what the fuck he doing. Like, he really understands this. Like, right. When we took them loans, like I told you, we took the SBAs, everybody around me was like, the dude that told me, my man Juju, he got the Embrace Us clothing line. Okay. He's like, yo, they got these loans. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna look into them. He's calling me every week like, yo, did you look into them? I'm like, I didn't yet. I'm gonna check it. What happened was her brother wound up.
So you didn't do the PPP.
I got denied for the PPP because they said something about paperwork or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm one of them people like if it ain't meant to happen, it's not meant to happen. I'm not gonna really chase nothing crazy.
So the PPP is one of the loans that they was giving to businesses throughout the pandemic,
and it was forgivable.
And
that's why a lot of us in small businesses didn't get it.
Wasn't eating.
The major companies got it because they're gonna forgive them. They gave them that bread. They're gonna forgive them on that money on 80% of it, and they walk away scot free. When they gave us the loans, we got to pay back.
Right. So the SBA is a little different. That was around even before the PPP, I believe. It's basically the small business loan. Right.
But they added it was small. It's the SBA, which is Small Business Association, and then they added natural disaster to it because of COVID.
Right.
So the reason why everybody was, because think about it. A year ago, if I applied for a small business loan, they would have put me through the ringers.
Right.
This time, they're asking me, what was your numbers before COVID? What was your numbers after? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is what we're going to approve you for. Now, they was added on, and this is how the community got crazy. They was added on $10,000 to that loan. You didn't have to take the 10.
Right.
I mean, you didn't have to take the loan, sorry.
Right.
The grant was for the $10,000.
Right.
It was $1,000 per employee.
Right.
So everybody that got the $10,000 in the hood, in the neighborhoods, they said that they had a business with 10 employees or better, and the government cut them a check for $10,000 that they don't have to pay back. That's what happened. So by the time I got a hold of it, for two of the loans that I took, I didn't get the $10,000.
Right.
I got it for here. I didn't get it for Grago, and I didn't get it for the nonprofit.
Right.
I missed out on that.
But it's a second wave of it right now. Am I correct?
I was on the second wave. That's what I.
Oh, you didn't get the first wave.
I didn't get the first wave at all. Then I didn't get the second. The second one they was giving it out too.
Right.
They held my loan up. The second they approved me for the loan, they was like, we ran out of money.